Hello to all of you watching us live or watching us on demand from the official Cartridge Club YouTube channel. To those unaware of who the Cartridge Club is, we are a community of gamers, collectors, and video game enthusiasts of all ages. And as a community, we come together to discuss our favorite video games, both modern and retro, movies, and pretty much anything else you could imagine. In addition, we are the home to two unique Game of the Month podcasts where community members will play along over the span of a month, and at the end of the month, a few come together to record a podcast all about that game, sort of along the lines of a book club, but for video games. This month, we are playing Axiom Verge and The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, and we continue to seek out excellent examples of great games to play as future selections. You can always check out what games are ahead on our forums over at www.cartridgeclub.org or on our Discord server and join in the conversation. This morning, highlighting the E3 2018 press conference for the PC Gaming Showcase. And joining us today, we have our panel led by Ryan, also known as It's Rocket Sauce.
Hello.
We have host of the YouTube channel Frantic Society and the Frantic Thoughts podcast. We have Josh.
Good morning.
And with us is special guest, one of the co-hosts of the Retro Fandango podcast. We have Kevin.
It is a good time to be a PC gamer.
Thank you all for being here today. And Kevin, thank you for finding some time to join us to talk all things PC. I am Musty
Thanks
Hobbit.
for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Musty Hobbit, host of the YouTube channel Second Breakfast, and we have a bunch of stuff in store for you for the next hour or so, and we'll be breaking down all the biggest news from this PC showcase. We realize you could be watching any number of other outlets to break down this sort of coverage, and we thank you for joining us and letting us break it down for you. So I do want to acknowledge also that we have a very dedicated individual. Dean from Round 2 Gaming has been compiling all of the trailers that we'll be talking about here in our forums. If you are interested in following along, or if you want to watch those separately, if there's something that piques your interest, go check out the forums. There is a specific section for E3, and he has broken down every one of the press conferences. Dedication on that is admirable. Thank you, Dean, for putting all of that together. So let's get started with the presentation for the PC Showcase. Now, they've been doing this in prior years. It's been kind of, I know last year's show was kind of, to some of us, especially those of us who are primarily console, it felt kind of bland. They seem to have bolstered that quite a bit this year. And I wanted to kind of get, Kevin, your thoughts on how the presentation went. It was the longest of the presentations that we have gotten at E3, but I wanted to get your thoughts on how that sort of, how that went.
Well, yeah, I felt like as if they've come a long way since they started a few years ago. When they first did their first presentation, it was very hardware driven. They were talking about graphics cards and RAM chips and all that, and that's really not what people are here for. You have an audience who's invested in games and they want to know about the games on PC. So since then, I think they've really have taken that criticism to heart, and we're at the point now where we're a few years in, and they totally just focused on games. They did have one hardware presentation. I even skipped it. I didn't even care because I just wanted to know about the games, and they stuck to that. And I liked their format. They would show a trailer, for the most part, for the main games. They would show a trailer, and then they would have a developer or someone who is, not like a PR person or anyone from the publishing company, an actual developer there to talk about the game and to bounce some questions off of, like, what is this game? What's the multiplayer going to be? And I really enjoyed that, because a lot of times you watch a trailer and you're like, okay, well, what kind of game is this? Like, what is this Battle Royale? What is this thing? And the guy was there to answer the questions. So I really enjoyed it. It was longer, but I felt it moved. They moved from game to game nicely, and I enjoyed myself.
Excellent. And they had formerly known as Day 9 as the host of the show, but he didn't go by his moniker at all, as I understand. Didn't bring that up they actually referred to him by his full name. But yeah, like you said, they got right into it, and they led off with a game called Satisfactory. Which to me, like, it had some parts No Man's Sky, sort of looks like building a factory on uncharted planets. Kevin, you specifically saw something in this one. What did you think on Satisfactory?
Well, done by Coffee Stain Studios, who've done a lot of indie games. Probably the most well-known one they've done in the past is Goat Simulator, and this seems to be like the first big step up for them, where they're kind of approaching into AAA territory. And the game kind of feels, No Man's Sky is a good observation. I didn't think of that. I thought of Minecraft for adults with an RTS vibe. It's supposed to be co-op, so you can have other people come in and work on this world for you. But yeah, it looks like you're just going out, you're looking for elements, wood, whatever, rocks to melt down into minerals and to make plastic and all that. And it looks like you're making a community. You're building your own unique community from this. I didn't really see if there was any enemies or something to attack you, what the threats were, if it's going to be weather based or something. There's still a lot more questions, but it looks promising. It looks what they have right now. It looks like it's something.
Yeah, I thought it had a pretty good style and kind of the follow ability. It looked like you could almost lock on to like a specific part that's going through this conveyor belt and kind of trace it along. I always like being able to get in on, usually with RTS as your way, you know.
Yeah. It's a first person view, so you're right down into the city. So that's a unique spin. I think there have been other. I think even SimCity, one of the SimCities, you were able to build your city and then you were able to go into first person mode and look at what you built. But this is the first time where you're actually building stuff from that first person view. So I think that's where the Minecraft influence is in this game.
Definitely had a cool look. Josh, did you have any impressions on Satisfactory? I know it kind of led the show here, but
yeah, I love this style of game if it's done right. I'm kind of picky with my building games, and that building has to feel nice and look, be fun to do. But from the trailer and the art style and everything, it looks just pretty much right up my ad. Can't talk. I'm still recovering from yesterday. But yeah, it looks right up my alley and looks like a lot of fun, especially if you had a couple of buddies and you get in there and build this big city and stuff. Looks great.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Sure thing. Yeah. So continuing on, there were a lot of games. That was one thing, like Kevin, you said, like before they didn't have as much of a focus. There was a lot that they showed. There's a reason why this was a 2-hour show, and so there was a lot of unique looks. The next title that they brought up was called Neocab, which from the trailer itself has kind of a Blade Runner kind of future-esque look, and it seems to be around this automated world, but keeping your humanity while living in this automated world, and you're a cab driver. Looked like there was some interesting dialogue aspects and things like that. Did this, Kevin? Did this hit on any stylistically approaches for you?
No, it kind of looked like a mobile game,
Kind of, yeah. There was all you had were eyes moving. Really, it looked like you could have just had static images, but I thought
dialogue boxes.
I thought they were pretty.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, there wasn't a lot there from the game. This was just a trailer. There was no dev talking or anything. It was just show the style, and it looks like it's one of those point and click kind of games. It's like choose your dialogue kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. This is something that my wife would be really into, but me, it's just not for me. Being the allure of being an Uber driver in the future really just doesn't appeal to me.
And an Uber driver in an automated cab of all things too.
Right.
It seems like, there was some peril that they kind of introduced at the end that seems like there's somebody trying to shirk the bonds of their control. it looks interesting, and it most certainly I think will hit for people of the genre or people of the that sort of style. I think we'll probably dig that one.
As
cool.
someone who enjoys that style genre, this one kind of had my interest. So, I mean, I want to see a little bit more from it for what the story general is, but I do like those, whatever, choose your own adventure, you choose the dialogue kind of games. So, it looked pretty. So, this one at least was one of, this I think would be right up my alley if depending where it goes from here with the game.
Yeah, most definitely. And I know that the next game is in a genre that isn't necessarily in everyone's alley. It was our first BR game that was mentioned, and this is Maverick's Proving Grounds. This one was particularly interesting because they are boasting a 400-player solo battle royale experience, and then expanding up to 1,000-player concurrent 5-man squad BR experience, which just the amount of infrastructure to execute on that and have it be stable is going to be a huge undertaking, I think. And they mentioned things like it being kind of a persistent social hub, so you wouldn't necessarily all drop in at once. I'm not sure how that works, but they've even got down to, you can see footprints left in the snow. You can see where people have gone past brush and things like that. It seems like a massive undertaking. I'm really intrigued to see if they can pull it off. Although again, it's not exactly where I'm at. Kevin, are you into VR at all?
Not really. It interests me, but I just don't want to play with a bunch of other people in my games. Although it's kind of changing a little bit now. I'm kind of playing a little bit of Quake Champions, which was announced at another press conference, and I'm kind of digging that. So I don't know, maybe my perspective is changing a bit. But yeah, this is a huge undertaking, and it's probably why this game will be. It's years away from probably being officially released, and it's just a beta now, as the guy liked to call it. He was a British bloke, and he kept calling it a beta instead of a beta, which I thought was cute. But yeah, that's a massive underhaul, and be interesting to see if which one of these battle royales are going to take off. Which one of these are going to be the Fortnite killer?
Oh yeah, we're at that point. We used to have Doom killers and Halo killers, and now we're going to have Fortnite killers. Yeah. So Josh, does the concept of 1,000 players in a BR inspire you at all? I know you were playing some Fortnite a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried all the battle royale games. I tried H1Z1 recently too, but I don't know. It's like, okay, we have all these players, but I mostly care about the gameplay. If the gameplay is solid, maybe this 1,000 players thing is cool. I mean, the concept is awesome, but how long is a match going to take where you have to go through 1,000 people? That's what I was thinking too. It's going to be a 2.5-hour battle for all these people to die? Because it depends on the map size too. Is the map just gigantic or, yeah, I mean.
Very true. And if you're down to the point where you're breaking holes in buildings and stuff like that, like what does that end up looking like? Especially late game, like how does that impact things?
Mm-hmm. I was curious about it, to say the least. It's an interesting concept to make this thing and blow it out that big. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and it's not the only BR game that got mentioned. There's some that we'll talk about later that I think are, at least to me, a little more intriguing. But Kevin, you had another thought?
I was just going to say, if I don't really know much about the BR, because I've only played one game of Fortnite and like one round, and I was like, okay, that's it, I'm done. But if you have 1,000 players and you're like if you're sitting there with yourself and 3 of your friends and you actually got them together to play a game, don't you want a longer experience, a longer game?
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what they're going for, is the longer long tail game. I know when I play PUBG, the matches last around 30 minutes because, it's a bigger map than Fortnite and there's less places to less huge hot zones, I guess I should say. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe they make the map just the right way where the matches last the perfect like 40, 45 minutes and it's just, intense.
It's just super dense. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. It's a good idea.
I mean, the interesting thing that the host brought up was that this battle royale is so new, and there's so much flexibility with what they can do with this new. I don't want to say. I guess it's a genre. There's so many directions that they can go that everyone's just kind of testing things out and trying different things, and that's really why we're getting so much of it right now. Plus, it's hugely successful. It's making a ton of dough. So
absolutely. Yeah, and everyone's trying to find the hook that makes them unique, right?
Yeah.
And otherwise, we're just going to have carbon copies of the successful ones, which I suppose works short term. But it's what can you do to differentiate yourself? And there's one later that we'll talk about. Actually, the other two that we'll talk about that I think one of them has a huge hook that I think is really cool. The other one I think is a little more carbon, but we'll have to see about that. Moving on to the next game was actually a reimagination, yeah, of a Skyrim mod, and this is called The Forgotten City, which from the trailer read to me as this like investigative roguelike. They indicated that like in this world, the moment that a single person sins, everyone turns to like gold statues. So it has kind of a Midas thing going on. Looked really intriguing. To me, it looked really beautiful. You definitely see the Skyrim substructure under it when it came to some of the dialogue. But I'm definitely intrigued by it. And Ryan, did you have some thoughts on this one?
At least it looked like there's some like, I guess, the talking kind of looked like and it's one of the few PC games I've played, and I know it's not the same, but I almost kind of get the vibe from that Titanic game that I played, and I know Sarah, Kevin's wife's played it because she did a review for it on her blog, but it almost kind of felt like it had that kind of vibe to it, that little eerie vibe to it. And I don't know how much the dialogue is important to the game, but it seemed at least a little bit from the trailer to me that you had to kind of maybe talk with the people to get clues or something. This just from the small trailer I saw from it. So
yeah, it seemed like you had to kind of figure things out, and I don't know if you're trying to stop people from sinning. I'm not sure what that looks like, but it seemed like at the same time they were encouraging you to like push as far as you could to make things happen without also causing this event to happen among everybody.
Repercussions or something for decisions or something maybe you made.
Yeah. So that and again, the reason why this game has gotten greenlit is because the modification or the mod itself got a Writers Guild award. So apparently there's got to be a pretty substantial story behind it if it gets that kind of recognition, which is pretty cool. The next game is one that I am familiar with because of its prior iterations. It was on PC and Genesis and Sega Genesis back in the late 80s. And this is Star Control Origins, which they are touting as an action RPG. Looks like a lot of exploration and discovery, and not too far off. We're just a couple months away. This is coming on September 20th. Kevin, what did you think about Star Control? Are you familiar with the series for those same reasons, or are you familiar with the series at all? Or
I'm really not familiar with it at all. I never even heard of it until I watched this trailer this morning. And I am super stoked for this game. One of the things I've always wanted in video games, besides a Ghostbusters game, was a just a space exploration game. You know, I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and I don't necessarily want to go to every planet and fight aliens. I want to do the whole: are they good guys? Are they bad guys? Can we help each other? Are they going to be part of my federation? And it looks like we're getting closer and closer there. And this game looks like it's another step towards that. I don't think it's fully, because you can't get out of your ship, it doesn't look like, and talk to aliens. It looks like it's mostly vehicle combat. But man, it looks like it's got a lot of personality. It looks funny. The voice acting, I don't know who that one actor was doing the main alien, but I wasn't sure if it was Billy West or not, but it kind of sounded like it was. But man, there is a lot of good stuff on here. I like how they say that. So this is he explained it as an expanding universe, and all these planets that you explore and that you find, as you leave them to go and do other things, when you come back to it, that planet will have evolved. It'll continue to move on, and they'll continue to do things. So, you know, like how in Skyrim, you visit a town, you go and do something else for 20 hours, you come back, and nothing's changed in the town. In this game, it looks like they're going to change stuff. They're going to move stuff around.
That's cool.
It looks crazy. And then you talked about the mod support. The mod support's they're full on with that. So they're expecting people to start making Star Trek within this game, you know, start building their own ships, and because everything is customizable in this. So yeah, I'm super stoked for this. And to boot, it is not a full price game. It is a mid-tier game, which seems to be missing on the consoles now. The PC still seems to be pushing those mid-tier games. So it's $40 Canadian, and I think that's around $32 American.
Oh, that's great. That's excellent. Yeah. This one definitely jumped off the page for me. It was more because I have familiarity with the universe. Like at first I was like, are they just using the name? But like the logo is the same as the logo, like the same font for Star Control as the Genesis game, which I think was also was it Mindscape? I think maybe, or Accolade way back then. That did those games on PC as well. So yeah, I'm pretty psyched there. Moving along. Got to keep the train chugging along here. We have our game from Crytek, which was one that they showed last year. But we got a substantial gameplay demonstration. I don't know if it's substantial, but we got a gameplay trailer for Hunt Showdown, which I remember Crytek always being known as, you know, the Crisis game being the one that's kind of the bar for can your computer run this thing. And this looked unbelievable. Josh, what did you think on Hunt? Oh, we lost you there.
There it is. I hit my mute button, like a smart person would do. I haven't tried the Hunt Showdown, but I've heard that it's actually a take on the Battle Royale genre, honestly. So basically, it's a Battle Royale game where you have a team of 5 people, but you have hordes of creatures and zombies and stuff. So it has that PvP and the PvE aspect. You could either help the other group with these monsters, or you can kill the other group. That's pretty much what the hook of this game is. And it looks like this is just an announcement for more weapons and some new areas, maybe. I couldn't really tell.
Some of the weaponry look pretty awesome.
Yeah, they had like a spiked like grenade thing. It looks pretty fun. I don't know. I haven't tried it, but yeah, it's another one of those where they take the Battle Royale and then they kind of mix it up. So
for sure. Yeah, it looked like one that will make my computer run hot. I have a feeling, just from some of the atmospheric and the lighting shading looks really, really cool. Mm-hmm. Then with that being a PvP and PvE game, the next one we have is a PvP game with Mech Arena Combat. This is Archangel Hellfire. This one looked interesting to me, but a game that's exclusively that type of multiplayer, I don't know that that's necessarily in my wheelhouse, but I was intrigued by the look. It wasn't overly realistic. There was some almost not cartoony, but just it lacked. We weren't looking at Bayformers here. This was maybe a step earlier than that. Did this scratch any itch for you, Kevin? Or I know you said you're not really into PvP stuff, and so
yeah, no, nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, the next one, I know you definitely want to talk about. That's the Sinking City, which is a Lovecraftian investigation game in an open world. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this one looks really cool. This is done by Frogware, who make all the Sherlock Holmes games, and this is the first time I think that they're breaking away from that IP and doing their own thing. It looks like the gameplay looks weird. It looks very much like Resident Evil. Like the guy was showing himself playing, and he would go around a corner, and the character would swivel on his like tank controls in a Resident Evil game. But there was also this investigation element to the game where the guy is I don't know if he's a private investigator or something, but he has to go and he interview NPCs and find out, like, solve crimes and that. So it kind of looks like this weird mashup, since it's open world and survival horror. It looks like this weird mashup of LA Noire and a Silent Hill game. I don't know, but it looks kind of cool. It looks interesting. I'm curious to know more about it.
Yeah, and if it at all falls in line with some of the other, now there is another Cthulhu game coming at some point, right? Like there was another one that was announced maybe a year ago. This isn't that. I don't think
so.
Okay.
No.
Because I was gonna say, if it can fall in line with the original Xbox Call of Cthulhu, with that kind of they seem to be doing a lot with, like, shifting worlds and things like that. It looked pretty compelling. So definitely a good style to it, and it borders on terrifying, which is always a good thing if that is your cup of tea.
Yeah, it looks like it takes place too in it's an alternate world or something, but it looks like you're not going to have machine guns to mow down. Like, he looks like he's got just a 6-shooter gun, so there's probably going to be weapon management and ammunition management. So that's probably where more of the survival horror elements come into it. So it looks like it's going to be intense and fun. Most
definitely. Moving along, we've got an expansion to Warframe Sacrifice. Warframe is the loot MMO. We didn't really have... let me just see what we got here. And that'll be coming this week as well. So this is coming out this week. So very soon, for those of you who play Warframe and are interested in that, we have more content coming, which is always great. And the next little section here, I've got a couple of big Sega fans who want to talk about Sega. So Ryan, let's hear from. I want to hear from you first, because I figure that some of these announcements are good news for you. And does this do anything for you regarding PC and whether you would go back to playing any of these games on PC?
Probably not, but I'm just glad that Shenmue 1 and 2 are getting released on other things. Now we knew this before, but it's nice that I think it's being showcased at E3. No one else is really doing that. I know Sega has a small presence at E3 this year. They have a small table section booth. And the voice of Ryo Hazuki is there at the Sega booth. So it's nice that actually that Shenmue has a presence here at E3. And glad Bayonetta's there, and looks like, I know they had a pre-order or announcement for Yakuza 0. So I'm glad that there's some Sega representation here, and if it was anything, I guess it's nice that Sega had a little spot somewhere on the whole E3 card.
And Kevin, I know this was another one for you that was of special significance.
Yeah, I'm stoked that Sega's going all in on the PC. Yeah, bringing the Yakuza games to the PC, that's good, and they're priced very well too. $25 for Yakuza 0, which, I mean, come on, that's good. And the other thing is Valkyrie Chronicles 4. That's a new game, right? That's not out yet already.
I don't think it's out already.
Because I'm pretty sure he mentioned that Sega is going to start putting their new games out on the PC the same time it comes out on the console, which is very exciting because normally we've had to wait. And I don't mind waiting like, a month or two or whatever, but I mean, these games have been out already on console for at least a year. So hearing that, that's good. And maybe it was Shenmue 3. Was that ever wasn't that a PC game as well?
It's PS4 and PC only.
Right.
So it's I know they said they delayed it too to give Shenmue 1 and 2 some time too, and give development extra time for Shenmue 3. So I'm fine with it. There was, like I said, nothing's been shown since I guess some German gaming festival or something like that, like a few months back. So it's one of those things where you take the wait and see with it. So
yeah, so Valkyria Chronicles is coming out October 16th on PS4.
Okay. So yeah, that's cool if they start putting out their new games on the PC at the same time. So yeah, Shenmue 1 and 2, that almost had to come out on PC if they expected to sell Shenmue 3 on PC at all, right? Because you got to give a chance for people to play them. I mean, we're freaks, right? We'll go and we'll get a Dreamcast and we'll play the first game. We'll go get an original Xbox and play the second game, but most people are not willing to do that. So yeah. Good on Sega. I really like how they're taking on the PC and they're pricing their games right. They come out, they're not. They could charge $60 for Yakuza, but they don't do that. They charge the right price. So it's good.
Yeah, definitely. So we're gonna pick up the pace a little bit just because I know that Nintendo is coming up at the top of the hour. We want to make sure that everyone's clear for that. But we're gonna run through some things here. We got the first of 2 Walking Dead games. This one was Overkill's The Walking Dead. Super brutal trailer. I don't know that this is a game that I'll play or that I really even grasp the cinematic trailer that we got felt very. It was very appropriate. The Walking Dead. Humans are the worst.
It looks
when
like
it comes to that.
It looks like Left 4 Dead. They even they had 4 playable characters. They had the black guy, the girl, the old guy with the beard, and the white guy, which is, I don't know, just looked like a lot like Walking Dead. So if Valve isn't going to make Walking Dead 3, then why not get someone else to make it, put it in the Walking Dead universe, and there you go.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, and the next game was one that was a surprise, and I think the trailer did a great job of making you feel like this might be a vacation simulator, when it was actually this is the game called Man Eater, where you play as a shark in an open world action RPG. And to me, this looks like a ton of fun. Kevin, what did you think about Man Eater?
Yeah, this is another exciting game. This is cool. So Killing Floor 2, or The Killing Floor, was a mod made by this Alex Quick guy. And they've, this developer, Tripwire, have gone all in and have really supported this Killing Floor and Killing Floor 2 and all that. So this guy, Alex Quick, has now made this shark game. And the Tripwire is all about synergy and helping out other developers because stuff gets lost on Steam. There's so much content out there on the PC that they're all about helping each other out. So they announced some game like Road Redemption, which looks like what's that game called?
Road Rash.
Road Rash. Yeah, it looks like a Road Rash, modern day Road Rash. But anyways, so this Alex Quick guy comes out and you're playing this ARPG where you play as the shark and you jump onto the beach and you kill people. That looks awesome. That's good.
It does look pretty awesome. I kind of diving over the pier and taking somebody out in the process.
There's loads of fun there. Loads of potential there.
It harkens back to Jaws Unleashed, but probably will be better than Jaws Unleashed.
Hopefully.
Then we got a couple of games. in rapid succession here, we got Bravery Network Online, which looked like a turn-based multiplayer fighting game, but it's all hand-drawn. Really nice art style there. I was kind of impressed by that. We then got Morningstar, which looked at first like a Minecraft type game. There was some crop planting and things like that, and then things got kind of weird, and they realized you were in this like kind of very sterile environment, and your crops were actually like tech based. Like you were going in, you put in turnips as a chip and then had to grow the crop on the computer. I'm really not sure what we're getting out of that game. It looks different. I think post cyberpunk farming sim, but the crops are data. So I don't know. Next one was called Overwhelm, which was this 2D platformer, like really chunky pixels, but the action on it was really, really fast. I was kind of intrigued by it as well. It reminded me of like Nidhogg or like that kind of style, but lots of big explosions and things like that. Josh, I was thinking you when I saw this one. I saw.
Yeah, it looks really cool. And it's out today, so I'll probably check it out. And I like the idea of the art just being red and white and black. And I just had the trailer here. I was watching it again as you were talking. And what I noticed is it's one of those PC platformers where they have the cursor where you can aim with the mouse, which I always think is pretty fun. I don't know if anybody's played that before, but basically they have the cursor, so it's more pinpoint precise. So I'm sure it'll get ported to consoles with analog control after a while, but this is probably the way you want to play it on PC with, WASD and spacebar to jump, and then use your mouse to aim and shoot everybody. It looks really fun. So
yeah, almost like was it duck game?
Yeah, something like that. That's actually a good comparison, I would say. Yeah.
So the next game they showed us was the VR game that has been rumored over the Jurassic World Evolution demonstration. So apologies there. That actually just came out today. So if you are interested in building a dinosaur park, a theme park, and letting things go crazy, then that's your thing. I've seen an early review, and unfortunately, I think this type of sim game has a very specific audience, and I just don't think it's everybody. No matter how many coats of Jeff Goldblum you can put over it, it might not scratch that itch. And I think some of those can get kind of boring quickly for people. But if you were into Operation Genesis, if you're into theme park and those type of games, then this is probably right in your wheelhouse, and it's available now. So after that, they showed off the Insomniac VR game, and this one, I'm really intrigued by this, and I am super bummed that it was co-produced by Oculus, because I do not have that. I have PSVR. I really hope at some point it comes over, because I would really like to play this. It looks like you are an android who has been brutally attacked and basically killed, and then over time, it happens that a plant has grown that allows one of your circuits to actually reconnect and reactivates you, and you are going through the world and finding upgrades, and it almost reminded me a little bit of like some scenes from the beginning of WALL-E, where he's kind of collecting parts for himself and like upgrading them in the moment. And I love that movie, and so this all kind of fits really, really nicely. I heard them say that they will weekly kind of refresh the world, and everything will change. And suddenly the areas that you've gone in will all of a sudden be populated by entirely different things. It looks compelling. I just wish that it was coming to other VR platforms aside from just the PC ones. But of course, this is the PC showcase, and so we can't have everything as console people.
Yeah, my notes for this game was 2 words. It was crap, because now I'm gonna have to look into VR, because this game looks like it's the game that's gonna put it over the hump for me. I mean, that was a really ingenious way, I think, to get around how you're going to walk around in these environments. Well, let's make it an android who can float. Kind of makes sense.
Yep.
And Insomniac, I wish they would just stay in a room and make Ratchet and Clank games all day long, but they got to grow. Yeah. They got to do other things. They got to reach out. So, yeah, I'm excited for this. I don't know if I'm excited at the thought of spending $530 Canadian for an Oculus Rift, but
well, will the Go support this?
I have no idea.
There's that new one, the Oculus Go.
Don't know. I know nothing about VR. I haven't looked into it at all. When I saw this trailer, I went to see how much Oculus Rift was on Amazon.ca, and it was $530, and that was okay. Well, this thing's going to be a few more.
It's kind of a high barrier to entry for just
one game.
But yeah, hey, but you can always play. You can play Beat Saber right now if you wanted to.
Okay,
that's awesome. So the next we got 2 games from Raw Fury. The first of which is Night Call, which is a sort of noir taxi driver game. It's the second of the cab driving games that we've had in this presentation.
Lots of cab driving in this,
right? Yeah, yes. And then the second of the games was Sable, which was one that stood out to me. I thought it looked like a hand-drawn journey, kind of to me. But Kevin, what did you think on Sable? It sounds like you weren't as keen on it. But
I wasn't. But now I'm thinking about it. Maybe it's just the Twitch stream, because I found the whole thing very hard to look at. It has this art style. It's very cartoony. I refuse to use the word anime now. It's out of my vocabulary. I use cartoon, and it's very thinly drawn lines. So I found everything very hard to look at. Like the character was climbing up stairs, and it was just hard for me to see where the stairs were. But maybe it was just the Twitch stream. Now that I think about it, maybe that's why.
No,
but go ahead.
Yeah, I had the same opinion, because I have the trailer here and I'm looking at it. It feels like nothing has any anti-aliasing. Like you play old GTA and you look at the wires. It's all like pixel out. That's what it looks like for the whole game.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So I don't know. Maybe if the game itself, if you actually get the game itself, it looks better. Maybe it's just it loses something on online streaming or even YouTube or whatever. But I don't know. The game feels very artsy fartsy to me too. There's not a lot of running around and shooting stuff, which I look forward to in games.
Well, if it is trying to take some nods from Journey, then that would certainly align with that that style of game. I guess if you were looking for a game that would have lots of shooting and stuff, maybe Star Citizen would be up your alley there. We got announcement of the Alpha 3.2 patch, so we're still not yet in full release yet for this game. This was kind of a bigger deal, I think. It's just we're still waiting for the final release here. At one of these points, it's going to happen.
At some point, that game will come out at some point.
When you get version 3 of your alpha, then that really says something. But it looks like it's a huge undertaking, and so I kind of get it. But
yeah, they just added a $23,000 ship in the game that you can buy too, if you have the money, just laying around.
Right. Yeah.
Sure. Wait, like for physical, real money.
Yeah, real money, $23,000, and it's the biggest ship in the game.
That's bonkers. There will be somebody who buys it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it looks pretty ridiculous. Visually stunning, I think, is the term we're looking for there. I think it was Genesis Alpha 1. And this again, it looked like it kind of hit that exploration, spacefaring in a randomly generated universe with gene splicing and stuff like that. And that's coming sooner as well. That's September 4th that one's coming out. Moving ahead to Don't Starve Hamlet, which I was trying to understand whether this is an expansion or like a pseudo sequel. This one is December 2018 that this one's coming. Did any of you play the original Don't Starve?
I'm trying to get my wife to play Don't Starve together with me, but she doesn't like the art style, so it's a struggle. I'm going to get her there eventually, though. But short answer, no. I haven't played them.
Yeah, that kind of hastily drawn. I almost wish it had a little more color. Like it's very muted by design, I think. But yeah, so
it's almost like Tim Burton-y, I would say.
Yeah, I guess definitely.
Yeah.
We got some more Just Cause 4, and they came out and talked about the engine that they're using for that game. So Just Cause has then shown up on 3 different shows now, just in the couple days of E3 here. They're really leaning hard into that, and I know that was a game that I think some people were like, "Did we really want the 4th game yet?" And it seems like they're trying to give us every reason why we should. But yeah, they talked about.
Must be proud of that game for some reason.
For sure. Well, it looks like the some of the technical achievements that they're accomplishing here, they really want to flaunt, and hopefully, some of those things can carry over into their other properties. But that's really another conversation for another time. We then shifted gears back to Overkill's The Walking Dead, which showed another trailer and the release date of November 6th. It's unfortunate they couldn't bump that up a week, because you would think you'd want that game to come out on Halloween, but then they went into the final season has been announced for Telltale's The Walking Dead, coming August 14th. And I have played season 1. I have not played anything beyond that. And I know that, Kevin, you had tweeted about how you really need to go back now and play them all on PC because you want that continuity. As opposed to losing your decisions from the first game on your 360.
Well, they're gone now. They're sitting there on the 360, but they did this weird thing when they switched console generations. They didn't continue to make the Telltale games on the 360, so you had to go to their website and download a different download your saves and put it onto. And I'm not doing any of that. But on the PC, it didn't matter, right? They're all on the same format, so I really should have just started playing them on the PC. So I think I played through season 1 and 2, and that's where I stopped. And I really want to play the other 2, but you can jump into them. You can try to remember what your decisions were, and but that's just not the way to play those games. The way to play them is to play through them, make the choices, and then you live with them. You're stuck with them, right? Mm-hmm. So I will be rebooting a little bit by going back and replaying those 2 games, but yeah, now that I know that it has a finality to it, that this is the last season of Clementine's story, so that's appealing to me too, because it felt like, are these going to be going on like every 2 years? There's going to be another game, and I'm just going to be playing these forever. So knowing that it finishes and her story arc finishes, that's appealing to me too.
Yeah, that's nice, and that it's not like season 9; it's season 4 of that. So yeah, definitely. Ryan, are you looking forward to more Telltale?
Yes, I seem to have liked every game from this company, and even though I hate the Walking Dead television show, these games are fantastic for me. So I do like that there's a finale going to it, because that show doesn't seem like it's ever going to end. But
yeah, even when their lead actor says he's done.
Mm-hmm. But these games are great. I'm glad it's getting ending because I don't want it to get stale. So I'm glad it's coming to an end, and if there's a complete edition, great. So
that would be nice to kind of throw that all together if they can manage that. I'm sure they can.
I mean, these games are hugely popular and they do sell well. So I know that after this one is done, there will be another. Like they will take another character.
Oh, sure.
And go on with that. But
well, they already had the Michonne sort of side as well, so they pick that up with her or something.
Right.
Possibly. Yeah. So the next game we got was called Noita. I believe is how we pronounce it. It is a pixelated action roguelike. The imagery on this trailer is nuts. They said that every pixel is simulated. Josh, what did you think on this one?
I got an instant Terraria vibes, if you've ever played that. Basically, when you blow something up, you see the pixels fall down and everything, but even more detailed. And every time I see roguelike, I say, oh, I'm done with roguelikes. And then I see a game like this where they're trying something new, and I'm like, okay, I'll try this roguelike. I don't know. The thing about those is I feel like if they have some kind of progression that if you die, you actually still progress a little bit, that those ones actually give me a good hook to keep playing, like Rogue Legacy and stuff like that. So if this has that, then I'm more, into it. But I did love the art style, and it's something I've never seen before. Having every single pixel like movable and rendered. It's really beautiful. If you haven't seen the trailer, I say recommend just watching it. It's only like a minute, but it looks really cool.
Yeah, for sure. So then, with regards to unique art styles, the next game, this was a game that Sega had teased a while back, and I think that everyone had thoughts on what this game was, and then they revealed 2 Point Hospital, which to some people were like, well, why? But to those who have played the Theme Hospital game in the past, I think this seems to be fitting right in with that. Kevin, I know you're looking forward to this one, or maybe this one you didn't know about that reveal, so this was kind of a surprise to you, right?
Yeah, it was. It was the first I heard of it. I think I even tweeted out, "Hey, this looks like a spiritual successor to Theme Hospital," live when I saw the thing live, but I wasn't paying attention to what the host was saying. And then when I rewatched it, the host said that right at the start. So egg on my face. But wow, yeah, I'm super stoked for this game because Theme Hospital is one of my favorite games. I love that game back in the day. I dumped tons of hours into it. It was by Bullfrog Studios, who got eaten up by EA, and now I don't know what EA eats up developers and then makes them do, I don't know, whatever the heck EA has them to do. But it was just a really funny game, and it was a game that it's just a great idea for real-time strategy. You're in a hospital, you had this plague to cure, and it was very mission-based. You had to do this in a certain amount of time, and that this seems to be a little more flexible. It has more of a Sims kind of vibe to it. You seem to be building stuff, and you did build your hospital in the original game, but it just, I don't know, kind of feels like it's taken a little bit of inspiration from the Sims and mixing it in with Theme Hospital. Looks funny. Looks like it has a great sense of humor. I love the monobrow infestation, like just wacky stuff like that, right? So the monobrows, they kind of act like the rats of this hospital, and you got to like move your furniture around, and a bunch of monobrows come up, and you can kill them, and just weird stuff like that. They had like one guy had a turtle head. Yeah. So they had to put him in a machine and suck his head out so he could walk around. It looks like it's going to be a fun game, and I love the moment in the presentation. You guys might not have seen this.
I saw it. I liked it.
So the presenters come out, and I don't know. They were thinking that it was his stethoscope because they came out dressed in Dr. Schmucks, and they had these stethoscopes around him. And they're saying that was interfering with his mic, but you could hear one of the producers yelling, "What's going on with the mic? What's going on with the mic?" So I don't know. That seems a little weird to have that kind of interference. But so in order to get around it, the guy talked into the host's microphone who was wearing a clip-on mic on his tie, so he talked into his tie for the presentation. It was pretty funny. It was a nice, genuine moment.
It was a nice way to adapt. They could have been like, they could have all froze and they ran out of a hand mic or something like
Right,
that. But no, he's like, nope, just get right in here, talk to the floor. It was,
I'm stoked for this game. I can't wait to play it.
Yeah,
we need more fun games, colorful games like this.
Yes, for sure. On the topic of colorful, the next game is Realm Royale, which is another Royale game. This one to me looked like medieval Fortnite with class-based stuff. Is from Rev Studios, who did Paladins. We had the trailer for it. It looked like more Battle Royale to me. This one wasn't. That one wasn't the one that drew my attention. There's still one more left in the BR genre, but
yeah, I had a what I call a Riggs reaction to this game, where I said, "I'm too old for this shit."
It's pretty much just if you've ever.
I think I'm funny. Sorry.
I thought the joke was good. I'm sorry, I was muted.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll mute myself now and let Josh have his say.
That's all good, man. If you ever played Paladins, they have the classes. I think it's just an extension of that with the Battle Royale formula, and you can forge your own weapons and stuff. And it looks pretty much like they're going for the Fortnite market. So
for sure.
Yeah.
And we'll see if they do something unique enough. Maybe they pull some people, but yeah. So. Moving right along, we got a new trailer for Ooblets, which was shown last year at the Microsoft during the ID at Xbox portion of their show. So again, it's kind of a cultivation of plant monsters, kind of like Pokemon, but it's coming for PC and Xbox One sometime very soon. After that, we got Anno 1800, which is Ubisoft, and this, like, the visuals on this were pretty incredible. Looked like it's an RTS game, but I didn't get a whole lot from the short trailer there itself. But I want to move into the next game, because the next game I feel like we may have a few minutes to talk about. And again, I want to be conscious of the time. This was Rapture Rejects, which is it's from the guys who do Cyanide and Happiness, or the same studio. Is that my understanding?
I think it's just the writing
inspired by. Okay.
Yeah, like it's Cyanide and Happiness. Total. It's it's like a South Park game.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
They're using their style, their sense of humor, their writing, but it's another battle royale game, another BR.
It is, but they're taking a isometric approach, which I think is a pleasant surprise, because all of our BR games up to this point have adopted they've adopted that third person over the shoulder, or some of them have been first person, and this one is the first where you're actually on a 2.5D playing field, which is pretty cool. What'd you think? Kevin, what were your thoughts on like how they delivered this one? Because the trailer was pretty wacky.
Oh yeah, I watched the trailer about 4 times. I thought it was hilarious. Just how the beats and everything were for it was just a funny trailer. It didn't show a lot of the game itself, but just the concept that it's the Rapture. God has made a mistake and has accidentally brought all the bad people up to heaven and is leaving all the good people down on earth to fend for themselves. I mean, that's just hilarious. That's Cyanide and Happiness. That's their humor. And yeah, it's a great idea to make it 2D, because now it's more approachable to players who are not into the 3D stuff, and that's what you got to do with, you got to change it up a bit. So isometric view and very cartoony, very fun style. If it's a funny game, and it looks like it's a funny game, yeah, this should be a pretty big hit.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly left it for the end because it would be something that people would be talking about beyond it. So yeah. And it definitely has. I don't play BR games, and this has me kind of intrigued there. And certainly it looks like it would be not overly graphically demanding from a PC standpoint, which is also a good thing. But yeah, Josh, is this one for you? Do you think, or?
Definitely going to give it a shot. I love Cyanide and Happiness. Been reading their comics for years, watched their show, all that stuff. So that humor's perfect. I love it. So
excellent. Ryan, how about you on that?
Probably not.
No? Okay. That's all
right. Boo. Ryan. Boo.
So let's they had one more game to reveal, and so that was a big trailer with Hitman 2. And then they came out to talk a little bit more about how the game functions and some of the new features that they're looking for. And to me, it reads as a lot more Hitman. Josh, I know you were playing some of the Hitman on the charity live stream earlier this year. But what do you think about Hitman 2? Is it?
It looks great. They're ditching the episodic format, which they've already announced earlier. But this is going to be a pack with a bunch of different locations. They showed a few in this trailer. They showed the racetrack, and it looks like maybe like a museum or something. But the fun part about Hitman is it's disguising yourself and hiding in plain sight. That's what all Hitman's all about. So it's really fun to see them just lean into the wacky parts, like him throwing coconuts at people's heads and stuff like that. It makes the game a lot of fun just to think of creative ways to assassinate somebody and get out of there. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm still playing through the original one that came out 2 years ago, but once I beat that one, I'll be jumping into this. It looks great. So
awesome. Cool. Any other final thoughts on Hitman 2 before we kind of tie a bow on this one?
I need to catch up. The last Hitman game I played was on the GameCube. So
okay. Blood Money or
no? It was I think it was Hitman 2.
Ah,
yeah.
Well, hey, it's out again. Hitman 2.
Yeah.
What is old is new again.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, well then I want to kind of wrap up here. It sounds like, again, we feel like PC Gaming Show is moving in the right direction, and that they really kind of listen to feedback. So that's an excellent thing. Instead of doing full overview of what we thought of the show itself, since a couple of us admittedly did not watch the entirety of the show, we'll kind of skip that part. But I want to talk about what we have ahead still. We are doing one more show after this one, specifically for Nintendo, and that one will be the final show for all of these recap discussions that we've been doing, and so we're looking forward to going through that. We do want to do, as we've been doing with each of these, has been predictions for the subsequent show. So Kevin, you are here. I still want to get a couple of Nintendo either hopes or predictions, and what we've been doing is doing one at a time and then going back around. So I want to start with you and get a Nintendo hope or a Nintendo prediction for this one.
A Nintendo hope. I hope they go away. No. I saw on Amazon.ca that there was a pre-order available now for Metroid Prime 4. So I hope that means that they're going to be talking about Metroid Prime 4 and we're going to get a release date.
Excellent. Josh, let's get another prediction from you on Nintendo. I know Ryan's got at least one more too.
Mario Maker Switch with Super Mario Brothers 2 levels and slopes.
Okay. Ryan, how about you? What do you have?
I think with the inviting of all these, at least some, I would say probably the top 4 in Smash Brothers for the Melee, for Smash Brothers Melee. I think there's either going to be a Melee HD or a Melee mode in Smash Brothers 5.
Okay. I'm going to say that we have not heard or seen Soul Calibur on a stage yet for this E3. They did a little bit on an E3 sort of sort of in between demo, but I think Soul Calibur 6 is going to come to the Switch, and it's going to be the one time that it's shown on stage here this year. Kevin, you got one more?
One more thing that I want Nintendo to do.
Sure.
Put out free SD cards. Everyone gets a free SD card. How's that?
There you go.
Free RAM, free memory for everybody.
People will remember that.
Yeah.
Josh, one more from you.
One more from me. I had one in my head. What was it? I hate that. Oh yeah, brand new 2D Mario game in a brand new style that we've never seen before. So basically, it's a sequel to New Super Mario Brothers, but it's in a 2D pixelated style this time.
Okay. And Ryan, one more?
I think we might actually see Mortal Kombat on the Switch. That'll be the reveal is on the Switch, and we'll get Sub-Zero then in Smash Brothers.
Okay, then I will say, let's just go nuts. Final Fantasy VII Remake shows up in the Nintendo Direct somehow. There you go. I'm going to close with that. Again, I would encourage all of you. We will be back this afternoon is our plan. We're tentatively looking at 4 p.m. Eastern time to start our Nintendo coverage. We want to give the Treehouse time to happen because Nintendo has been known to shadow drop announcements during that Treehouse section. So plus we figure it'd probably be good for some of you to, maybe catching it later in the day. But yeah, we're looking forward to talking through that. We will be going through our sort of best of all the press conferences and the things that are really exciting for us. And so we look forward to having you along with us for that. But I do want to thank the panel for being here. And Kevin, thank you for coming on short notice to join us for this. I appreciate having you here because I know how big PC gaming is for you. And so I didn't want to, I felt like if it was just the three of us talking about it, since we are admittedly all primarily, if not exclusively, console gamers, it would probably be a little disingenuous for us to talk about PC stuff that much, right?
Yeah, well, it was a roller coaster ride because at first it went from you're not doing a PC show to you are doing a PC show to the PC shows now moved to the next morning before Nintendo with a heart out because we all have to bow down to Nintendo whenever Nintendo says we gotta do, right? It's at noon, we gotta do it. So, but thanks guys, thanks so much for having me, and yeah, it's been a blast. It was fun.
Awesome. And
Let's do it again.
Where can we find you on the interwebs if people want to find you?
Type in Retro Fandango on Google, and Retro Fandango will come up, and then the world's your oyster from there. Just follow the links, and my world will open up to you. Ramvox's world will open up to you. You'll be entertained for the rest of your life if you do that.
Awesome. Excellent. Josh, where can we find you on the internet?
Frantic Society on Twitter. Follow me there. You can see all that I do.
Okay. Excellent. And Ryan?
Twitter, it's Rocket Sauce.
Okay. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at Musty Hobbit or at the YouTube channel Second Breakfast. Again, I want to give a shout out again to Dean for the forums and the posts that he's been doing with all of these links and trailers. It is a huge undertaking. So again, thank you for putting in that time and making it easy, for people to listen to what we have to say and go see how awesome some of these games look. Really very impressed. And again, very happy that you've taken the time to do that. I think we'll wrap there. We've got a few minutes to go before the top of the hour. But again, we will be back later. I hope that you join us. Please, if you aren't already subscribed to this channel, this is the Cartridge Club official YouTube channel. There will be more type of events like this throughout the year and maybe even an evolution of some things that we already do that might like this type of format a lot. So we hope that you stick around. Subscribe if you're not already, and if you're catching us because you just happened upon this, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you are intrigued by the club, and maybe this will be a place that you wouldn't mind hanging out with and talking with us. So we'll go ahead and stop there, but thank you all for coming by. We hope to see you later, and have yourself a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.